Welcome to the official podcast by SOA English Cafe in association with SOA Photography Club of Sustain Health 2026 in collaboration with Kaho. We have with us Professor Dr. Sutapa Pati, Academic Dean, School of Sustainability, XIM University. Ma'am, I deeply, warmly welcome you to this podcast by SOA English Cafe. Ma'am, before proceeding to the podcast, I would like to ask you, you have already been there in the day one. How was your experience in the Sustain Health conference that SOA is having?
For past 2-3 years, we have been, discussing amongst academic institutions that how it is so important to converge, especially in area of healthcare, industry, and different verticals of sustainability. Because ultimately the outcome and the impacts are shown in hospital for whatever is happening, whether climate change, extreme events. So bringing on board, such a specialized field called healthcare is so important. In that context, when I received, the invitation, our university was very happy to participate. My students also, they came here and very, very happy, and congratulations to the team for bringing us all together, from different verticals and fields.
This really means a lot, and we can't be more grateful for that, ma'am. Okay, ma'am, I'm starting with the question. Ma'am, as you see, and you belong to the School of Sustainability, ma'am, as you can see today, different hospitals are getting accredited for ensuring patient safety and hygiene. Do you think accreditation should only check rules or also promote sustainability and innovation?
All the accreditation or the different standards and frameworks that globally we are, adopting, it always follows some core thought and principles, and they all have emerged from a set of principles which have been, learned together. And if you study, for instance, green building, whether you study the LEED framework, by US GBC or Indian government's GRIHA, you will see that at core they are speaking about some principles at the background. And finally, it comes to measurement of metrics and checklists. It travels a journey. Sometimes it does happen that we forget the core principles that it is coming from. And you asked whether solution-driven innovations is a core concept in it. Yes, because generally these accreditations nudge us to implement innovative ways of doing things which are aligned to the original principles, right, which it came from. For instance, for building, that the buildings at the very simple core, it should be bioclimatically aligned,
right,
of that place. So your building at Canada and your building at Bhubaneswar cannot be the same, because the latitude, longitude is different, the weather conditions are different, the climatic different parameters are different. So that is what I mean by saying that at the core principles. Now, if we try to make whole world, all the buildings as same, it doesn't work, because then you will require more energy to keep us cool. The materials will be different. The footprint will be high.
Metrics will be.
So when you asked whether we should go with just the metrics and quantifiers and checklists, no, I wouldn't say that's a good idea. All stakeholders should be aware of the core principles where it needs to converge with. It is a huge space for us to come together and innovate. So it's much larger. The framework is much larger. That is the message I would like to.
Basically, it should follow the cycle.
Yes, the whole cycle of, from principles till final implementation.
Then getting the accreditation.
Then only the accreditation.
Yes.
Because you will constantly see that you are not able to solve the problems, right, if you just do small tinkering, unless working at the core. The example I just gave, if you have chosen the wrong building material, no matter how much you try, the occupants inside will not be comfortable. If your alignment is wrong to the sun, again it will not be comfortable. It is designed as per any wrong principle. Even if you have the best energy efficient technologies implemented, it does not solve. Therefore, understanding of core principles is so important.
Yes, ma'am. And with the addition to that, Um, Today's era is all about AI, ma'am. So, if we talk about AI in healthcare, it can easily predict how many patients will come tomorrow, such that hospitals can prepare doctors and beds in advance for the patients, right? In such series of events where there is an unprecedented emergency situation, do you think AI systems would work better than the normal traditional systems that already the hospitals are implementing?
I'll go with the original thought, which all experts are saying,
Right.
that AI, we are, as a world, we are too overwhelmed at this time with the possibilities of AI. But one area where, everyone is agreeing upon is healthcare, whether in the pharma sector or in core hospitals, AI will have a huge impact. So that has been more or less, agreed upon. Now coming to at the again, I would say what is the core thought of an hospital is the values of care. You know, and you picked up a very important context that during emergency context,
Exactly.
can we completely depend on AI? Definitely, AI helps for forecasting as a predictive tool for better management. But I would see a robust human-driven management system, keeping a strong oversight, because the complexities that you all face at hospitals at everyday level, it differs patient to patient. Standardizing that is high risk, is extremely high risk. You have someone coming from certain background with a very specific nuance, of onset of something that probably may not be predicted, which a caregiver may play a role.
Right.
AI will always assist us, will predict for us, will forecast for us, but the concept of care by human caregivers, I'm sure, will keep playing a major role.
Yes, ma'am. Also about the sequence, for example, AI must be having, right, patient one, then patient two. For example, the emergency situation came from nowhere from another patient. So, priority wise, would you think we should give AI or the traditional one?
It is always the values based framework. When you
Right.
and you will see nurses on station, they have an inherent values framework working, that who becomes the priority, including doctors.
Yes.
That's a very human thing to do. Where whether we will reach a level when AI integrates all those values and does human like, that's there's time for that. So I would always say that probably that human-led prioritization, because there's in medical field there's something called diagnosis and prognosis.
Yes.
Lot of it very difficult, and there are special doctors, eyes, and nurses through their experiential context, which needs to play along with AI. Can always suggest, AI can always assist, but that last caregiving values framework is required by our caregivers in hospital, in flesh and blood.
Really like targeted a very amazing, very explained very wellly, so that our audience watching must be very like getting that difference, that code difference, that traditional thing that the hospitals are carrying and the AI, right? Yes, ma'am, that's very nice. Whatever you said right now, the difference, the core difference between the traditional systems that the hospitals are acquiring today and whatever AI is doing for, and whatever you said about the replacement theory, that of course the traditional theory cannot be replaced. So AI can only assist. That's a very core thought that our audience must be really encouragingly thinking about. Thank you, ma'am. Another question. Lastly, I want to ask. In many developing nations like India, healthcare and sanitation infrastructure are still evolving. How can sustainability principles be embedded while these systems are being built rather than retrofitted later?
I would like to present our context, which is called as system theory. And since I come from the field of sustainable design, we always say that asking and studying nature is so important. I'll give you an example, that if there is a toxic material, how does nature process it? If it is a organic nature based material, how does nature process it from one substance to another? So understanding nature and understanding how system theory works is so important when we are working, especially with sanitation cycles that we have. We have a country which is huge, population load wise. So first is aligning, our systems designs in rhythm with nature's principles.
Right.
Why I'm saying this is there are a lot of technologies coming. There are new chemical induced designs which are coming, which may not be good designs in long term. May require the level of aggression that is there today. So how can we quickly have technologies which are aligned with nature principles when we are talking of healthcare and sanitation related work? Also, process by process we have to go, material by material. I was talking today in my panel that there are more than 1 lakh chemicals which has not been assessed from healthcare perspective, that how is it impacting our human health. So all these industrial toxic material, when it mixes with organic waste or sewage, and it is whether in our water body, soil, and ultimately ending up in our ponds, rivers and all, the scale of impact on human health is huge. So having basic infrastructure in place, correctly selecting the technologies of implementation is very important, where I think the whole of healthcare sector has a huge role to play. The governance mechanism at city level, rural level, that has to play. Technologies and designers have a role to play to select proper technologies. So it's there is some in what we call is a wicked and complex problem. So what you just mentioned is a wicked and complex problem. Two examples I'll see, including youth. We have come forward with good designs. There is a concept called as waterless urinals. That how do you? There is a small valve they have designed. So how urine can be used as as rich for agriculture or other purposes. At the same time, takes in less water. Fecal sludge management is another thing. It also stops pollution and polluting our water bodies, but we use it as business model and use it for better management, which will again help our reducing our healthcare load also. So I'll end by again saying understanding the system theory, how it works best, following the nature's principle. And you have touched upon a problem which is, I think, all of our cities and nation is grappling with. Sanitation and healthcare solutions.
Yes, ma'am. True. Okay. It was really nice having Miss Sutapa Pati ma'am we have with us. It's like ma'am, the insightful thoughts that ma'am gave us is very much thought provoking. I am sure ma'am the audience, those are watching, will be really stricken by each and every word you said. Thank you so much, ma'am, for having.
Thank you, and congratulations on doing something like this.
Thank you, ma'am. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes of SOA English Cafe. Thank you.